Hi, I'm Tinny from Mini Bowl Design, and today I'm up in the studio. It's the end of the day. It's about 4:30, starting to get dark out. It was in the 20s all day long, around 23, and sunny the first half of the day. Then it started to cloud in towards, around 3 o'clock, like it usually does about every day. Now, today's Monday, so Mondays are tough. A lot of orders. I had like a dozen orders. So I went out to the factory like I do every Monday and fired up the stove. And this time I waited a little while and let the place warm up pretty good before I took my jacket off and went to work. And I had a lot of work to do. I had a lot of stuff to build. Luckily, the only thing that saved me was I worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday building stoves. And if it hadn't been for that, it would have been a complete wash. But I had a lot of inventory built up, and luckily nobody ordered stuff that I didn't have built up, like BIOS micros or slimline remotes. So I did pretty good there. Now I've noticed that as far as stove sales go, for every aluminum bodied wick stove I sell probably 20 regular traditional stoves made out of a soda can. And I've been thinking about different designs, and as far as the wick stoves go, I basically have got all the bases covered. If you want a really lightweight, really big wick hot stove, be an M4. If you want a super lightweight stove, not so hot, you can put an M2 wick on it, a donut wick. If you want to simmer with it, just take the donut wick off. And then I've got the Bongo Pro, which has a built-in pot stand and a safety base. And if you want in a smaller stove, I've got an M2SB safety base. And if you want to go crazy small, I've got the Bongo Original, which is great for baking and simmering. And then if you're absolutely, completely nuts, I've got the Bongo 1/3, which is just very small and very minimal. And because the tops are modular, you can put a droop top on, or a turbo top, or a Bongo Original top on any of the stoves. Between the mix and match there, I think I've probably got 50 different combinations. And there's really nothing there I can think of that needs to be addressed for a new design. Sure, I could make a stove that looked different, but it wouldn't be any better. It would just look different. And I'm not into building stoves just to make them look different. It's not my style. If I can't do something to improve it, or something to make it work better at some different application, then I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make stoves just to make them look cool. No. Like the base of my stoves when I mill them out. I milled them out to create a safety base, which is twofold. It's a safety base and it makes them lighter. Now, if I wasn't going to go for a safety base and I just wanted them lighter, I'd just mill the base down thinner. It's a no-brainer. So the mill with the sides is safety base to catch any alcohol that you spill with a wick stove, which is probably one of the major problems with a wick stove is you can overfill it, or one of the biggest problems I have with a wick stove is that if you run a remote and the remote's not set up right, you can get a major fire going there fairly quickly. I'm really leery of using a remote and without sticking around and watching it. So if it starts to go over the edge and starts to fill a safety base, I can flip the remote and get out of trouble. I would never dare to set up a remote and just walk away. I'd have to set it up and monitor it for at least 5 minutes to make sure it was, and then I'd walk away, but I'd still come back every couple, 3 or 4 minutes and check on it, because the potential there is bad. Now, as far as the traditional stoves go, as near as I can tell, I've got all the bases covered there. Whether you want a really hot, simple stove, or a long burning, slower heat stove, or a very, very compact stove. The BIOS is really hot and really simple, no pot stand. And the Atomic, Mini Atomic, is very small and works well with little tiny pots, because even beer can pots, because the flame is right in the center. seen a lot of people run beer can pots with the flames just licking up over the side. That's not very efficient. If you're going to use a beer can pot, you should have a center burner that hits right in the little dome part in the center, so the heat doesn't just go, it goes into the pot instead of just going up into the air. And of course the Atomic works well with small pots too, and if you fill it all the way up, it'll burn for 30 minutes. I'm really starting to like the Atomic for just general cooking, especially if I'm doing advanced cooking where I'm heating up 2 or 3 different things. My favorite go-to stove is the Atomic. Now the Atomic Carbon Felt is even a little bit better, because what I found out is if you take a 1 cup plastic measuring cup to put it out, slide it down over, it'll go down over, and most of them will seal right on the wick. And if you just take it that way and put it in a 12 centimeter pot, the alcohol never evaporates. Next time you get ready to use it, whatever alcohol's left, just prime it, light it, and keep it on going. It's very efficient that way. It doesn't waste much alcohol, and it's just a medium heat. It's not a crazy hot heat, and it's not a real low heat. It's just a middle of the road heat. It's almost perfect for general cooking. And then if you want to bake, then I would go to a wick stove. I'd go to an original Atomic or an M7 with a simmer ring if you want to keep it really simple. Now somebody asked me today about a simmer ring for an M4, and I explained to them that you don't use a simmer ring on an M4. If you want to simmer with an M4, you either take the donut wick off or just cut back the amount of fuel you put in so it just burns in the center wick, and it's just that easy. Now, somebody left a comment and said that when they make, and this is interesting, when they make spaghetti, dehydrated spaghetti sauce, they dehydrate the sauce just as dry as they can get it. And then when it comes out in sheets, they put it in the blender and grind it right up into a powder. And it's easy to measure, and it rehydrates much better that way. Now that's a good idea. One of the other ideas one of the guys left was when they make pancake batter, they use a fairly heavy Ziploc bag and put the amount in that they're going to use. Write on there how much water to use. When they get ready to do pancakes, they open the Ziploc up and dump in the correct amount of water and zip the bag, and then knead it to get everything all mixed in. Then they take and cut the corner of the bag off and use it like a cake decorating tube to squirt their pancake batter into their fry pan. Now that's a good idea. When you get all done, just roll it up and no cleanup. That's a real good idea. And the spaghetti sauce running through the blender, you see, there's all kinds of ideas out there. Everybody's, if you got a good idea like that, leave a comment. Now somebody else said that they make their spaghetti, just make it like they'd eat it at home, and when they get it all made, then they dehydrate it all made. Now, I think if you're going to do that, excuse me, I think if you're going to do that, you'd want to cook your hamburger first and drain it, get all the fat out of it. And if you did that and then dehydrated it, it would work, except for the fact that, for me personally, the pasta and the sauce would be rehydrated way before the hamburger would. And if you didn't wait till the hamburger was completely rehydrated, which really takes a long time, you'd have real gravelly spaghetti. And if you had it all together, rehydrating it all at once, boy, you'd have to have a fair amount of water in it to get the hamburger to rehydrate, and I think everything else would be overdone. But I've never done it. It might work great. He said it worked great, but I like doing it the way I am, because when the spaghetti's cooked, it's the first time it's been cooked, and it's always best just as soon as it's cooked, and then put the nice sauce on it. I don't like to have the spaghetti set around or cook it and dry it and then recook it. It's not going to be as good that way. So the way I'm doing it is a little complicated, but I think it's flavor-wise, it's the best way to go. And it's not that complicated. So, I'm thinking if there's anything else I want to say on this video. I bought an LED light bulb the other day and put it in my lamp by my computer, and I really like it. It's really nice light, and it works really well in all the old fixtures that were made for incandescent, because the bulb looks exactly like an incandescent bulb. And it's supposed to last for around, if you use it no more than 3 hours a day, and I never use it that long, it's supposed to last for a minimum of 13 years. So You know, I'm looking at that's probably the last bulb I'll ever buy. It was $10, but if it's going to last, 15, 20 years, I think it's worth it. And I've got 6 bulbs down on the valance around my kitchen. I'm slowly going to change those out and put the LED bulbs in all of those. Really are in a big advance in lighting. I really like it. They only draw 11 watts each, and they're rated for 60 watts, like a 60-watt incandescent, but they only draw 11 watts and they run cold. It's pretty cool. I'm always watching out for that kind of stuff. Now, I'm thinking on the bike that I may spring from some lithium-ion batteries for my Velomobile when I electrify it, just to keep the weight and the bulk way down. To really get a good one, it's like $600 or $700 for a battery, but I may do that this summer. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm Tinny from Mini Bull Design. Get out and hike, take a friend, enjoy the great outdoors, and more important than anything, try to have some fun today, and try to have a really great day. Bye-bye.